Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're making ogbono soup and these are the ingredients. I'll be using beef, some crayfish, and this is my ogbono. That's 1 cup of it, and my palm oil. I also have seasoning cubes, dried fish, stock fish, and I love to add okra to my ogbono soup. That's it. And here is our pumpkin or ugu leaves and some Uziza leaves for some flavor. That's the way I love to make mine. So let's get cooking. Over here, I'm about to steam my meat and stock fish. I steam both together, and there we have our onions and fresh pepper and some seasoning cubes. I'll let this cook in its own water before I add water to the pot so that the meat can have some flavor. So that's the water from the meat. I've added some more water to cook it and to continue cooking. Here I've added about 3 liters of water. That's the amount of water I want to add for this soup. And I let the pot boil a bit before I added my palm oil. I'm adding 2 cooking spoons of palm oil to my pot now, and I'm going to let it boil and I'll return to add the other ingredients. So I covered my pot and let it boil for some minutes, after which I'll return to the pot to add some more. And here our pot is boiling. I am going to go in with some of the crayfish. I'm not adding all of it. I'll reserve some for later. You do this to retain the flavor of your crayfish in your soup. After this, I'm going to be adding my ogbono powder. I will add it now and let it boil for about 20 minutes. You want to cook your ogbono well, because if it's not well cooked, it tends to purge some people. So I'm going to stir the pot now and allow my ogbono to cook for about 20 minutes, after which I'll return to the pot. So after 20 minutes, my soup has boiled a bit. I will add the rest of the fresh yellow and red scotch bonnet peppers. This is going to make the flavor stick in the soup. Fresh peppers take the flavor of your soup to another level, and adding them in sections, it makes you retain this flavor in your soup. So now I'm stirring my pot, after which I'll cover it and let it boil again for some minutes. I'm going to cover my pot now and let the soup cook for some minutes, after which we'll be getting to the last part of it. So now my ogbono has boiled to my satisfaction. I'm going to be adding my dried fish now. That is my panla fish, and I'm going to stir the pot and allow the soup to cook again for a few minutes. But before I do that, I'll be adding some of the crayfish. This is the second batch of crayfish, and I'm going to stir my pot again, and I'll let this cook for a few minutes before I come back again. I've covered my pot now, and I'll let the pot boil again. So lastly, I'll be adding my vegetables, and before this time I had tasted my soup and the level of seasoning and salt was perfect. The crayfish and everything, the flavor was just okay, and I'll go ahead to add my vegetables, starting with the Uziza. And each vegetable I add, I'm going to stir the pot. I add Uziza first so that it can release its flavor in the soup. I love the flavor of Uziza in my ogbono soup. I'm stirring in the Uziza leaves now, and the next thing I'm going to add is my okra. I am adding my okra now, and I'm going to stir it. After which I added my ugu leaves, and I'm going to stir the pot as well. It's remaining just one last ingredient to give our soup a very fantastic and lovely delicious flavor, and that is some Cameroon pepper. Yes, some Cameroon pepper, and I'm adding it right now. I'm going to stir the pot, and our ogbono soup is ready. After I allowed the pot boil for just few minutes, our ogbono soup is ready, and because it has vegetables, I will dish it into my plate where I'll be storing them in the freezer, as you can see. And that's it for this ogbono soup. Please use as much proteins as you want.